Welcome to the second episode of Nami Saranne. I am Professor Chandrabhushan Sharma. I am at the School of Education, Indira Gandhi National Open University. I have been chairman of the National Institute of Open Schooling during 2015-2020. We, the educationists from the discipline of education, who study and understand education as a social phenomenon, as a discipline, have come together to put our views on public platform, because we believe we must put our views so that policy change and those who decide on policies get influenced, get educated by what we understand education should be. We have named the series Nami Saranne because Nami Saranne was the place where the rishis sat together and meditated on making Bharat a better place, contributing to the human knowledge. And I have already explained in the first episode, I need not go ahead. This is a place very close to Sitapur, now Uttar Pradesh. Today, we are going to discuss the issue of inclusive education. Inclusion is a very important aspect of education. Education is a key change agent. It is perhaps the most important resource which affects change in human lives. Children who get admission to a good primary school gradually go to a better elementary school, and similarly they go to a good secondary and senior secondary school. Ultimately they land up in a good college, university, and do better in life. Those who are fortunate and get admission to good schools and better institutions settle better in life. So it all depends upon the type of institution a child gets admission to in the very early stage of primary. Now, it must be the endeavor to give every child equal opportunity of quality education right at the beginning and from the beginning, so that all children have level playing field. If education is such a crucial resource, then it must be available to all children, girls, boys, rural, urban, and what has been often mentioned, the differently abled. The term inclusive education has been used traditionally for including the less privileged disabled children. But in 1994, in Salamanca, Spain, there was a conference organized to assess the level of inclusion of the disabled, where the term was redefined. And the term was redefined to mean inclusion of all those who were less privileged or discriminated against in the society. The girls are discriminated across the globe in developed and developing countries in different levels or scale. Similarly, those who come from rural areas, who are known as the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribes in India, they're differently able. Linguistic minorities. So the term was enlarged to include or incorporate all such groups and talk about them. In India, we had the system of special schools for the visually impaired, for the hearing impaired, for the autistic, and so on. But we started making our schools inclusive, at least on paper. We have seen two draft national policy on education, one by Mr. Subramanian and the other by Kasturi Rangan. There is very little reference to inclusion in these two documents. We are waiting for the National Policy on Education to come, where we hope and expect more focus would be given to inclusion. To discuss this topic today, we have 5 very eminent scholars, academics from different universities. We have with us today Professor P.R. Ramanujam, who has been Pro-Vice Chancellor of the Indira Gandhi National Open University, a Professor of Education at the Staff Training and Research Institute of IGNOU for more than 3 decades. Professor Ramanujam has been instrumental in designing, developing and imparting large number of courses during his career in IGNOU. He has worked on special courses for the special children through IGNOU. Professor Ramanujam is a wheelchair-born scholar. He suffered polio at the age of 15 months, and since then he has been on wheelchair. But his zeal and his vigor has not deterred him. Welcome, Professor Ramanujam.
Thank you.
We also have with us Professor Renu Nanda. Professor Renu Nanda is Professor of Education and Dean Faculty of Education at the University of Jammu. She has more than 37 years of teaching experience. She started her career with teaching very young children. In fact, the institution was her brainchild and idea when she got interested in very young children and nurtured this institution for almost 10 years. She has now been with the higher education for a number of years, decades. So she has a very extensive experience of teaching from very young children to the doctoral students. Welcome, Professor Renu Nanda. We also have with us Dr. Madhuri Isave from the Tilak College of Education, Pune, Maharashtra. Dr. Isave has done her doctoral research on inclusive education. She has taught at the undergraduate, postgraduate and the doctoral levels. She has supervised PhD thesis on inclusion. She has also done external funded research on 14 districts of Maharashtra on inclusion, and she now is working on inclusive education and design of curriculum for inclusion. Welcome, Dr. Madhuri Isave. We have with us Dr. Somu Singh. Dr. Somu Singh is Assistant Professor at the Department of Education, the prestigious Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, UP. Dr. Somu Singh has more than a decade of teaching experience. He has been working to make education especially popular amongst the less privileged and trying to generate an idea about inclusion amongst the students and teachers. He works extensively on social media to make inclusion and teacher education popular in India and abroad. Welcome, Dr. Somu Singh. Dr. Somu Singh is also a differently abled person who has himself experienced, I won't say suffered, experienced and works for those who are differently abled. So welcome, Dr. Somu Singh. As the objective of Naimisaranya is to raise issues of public concern in education. We, the educationists, understand what is education about and how it affects life. It is not to criticize a government or policies. It is to assist the government. We are of the opinion that the government, the present day government, is concerned about issues, is doing great things about education. So we as a group who support the government, we should not be looked at as opposition to the government. We should be looked at as people or teachers who are concerned and interested in the present government, and we want to put our ideas to the present government. So our criticism, our critique should not be looked at in opposition, but in favor, as ideas to support. So let me begin the discussion by inviting Professor Ramanujam. Professor Ramanujam, what are the steps to be taken to make Indian education and society more meaningful and inclusive?
Thank you, Professor Sharma. Good evening to all my fellow panelists. The very term inclusive education suggests something about the structure of the society. There is a privileged section or a dominant section which already enjoys all the privileges of education. And there are sections of society that do not have access to the proper education, and therefore the government has the responsibility to take steps to include them. This is a simple understanding. The moment we talk about include, it also suggests many of them have been so far excluded. So we have to take conscious steps to include them. That is the understanding. And the context is the National Education Policy, which is going to be placed before the Parliament very soon. And I have also gone through both the versions of the document, one by Dr. T.S. Subramaniam and the other by Dr. Kasturiran. When it comes to inclusive education that will cover the various sections of society, there are many challenges. Challenges of gender, challenges of socio-economic disparities, social prejudices, linguistic differences, cultural differences, and so many. To my mind and to my limited knowledge, I have studied various societies and civilizations, but no society or no nation or no civilization is as complex and as varied and as challenging and as big and as fascinating as our Indian civilization and Indian people. You think of any kind of social challenge, educational challenge, you will have unparalleled examples that you can find only in India. If India can find solutions to educational problems and social problems, probably that will be the leading light to solve the problems faced by any other country. So with that small preamble, let me list the steps to be taken to include all those sections who have not been included, including the persons with disabilities. Because I always maintain that I don't call them differently abled or by any other name. I call them persons with disabilities because that is the term used even in our acts. 1995 PWD Act, Persons with Disabilities Act. 2016 Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And this is the international parlance, internationally accepted expression. I don't have any opposition for others, but then I feel when you use other descriptions, then I feel it is somewhat condescending or patronizing. I would like to avoid that because we are talking about equality, equal rights. Now, first of all, one has to recognize the size of the population, whether SC, ST, or tribal population, minorities, or persons with disabilities. Indian government statistics put that 2% to 2.2% of their total population is disabled. But independent estimates And UN estimates, they put it that in every developing country, you can safely say 10% to 16% of the total population is disabled in some way or other. And in PWD Act 1995, we recognized 7 categories of disabilities, major disabilities. RPD Act 2016 raises that number to 21. And when you go by even the average of the UN estimate, the disabled population in India should be somewhere between 10 to 16%. Now, let us not bother about the average. Let us take the minimum. If it is 10%, that is the minimum according to the UN estimates, then 13 crores, that is 130 million people are disabled in some way or other. This is something revealing because data is extremely important if we have to plan, mobilize resources, and budget them and spend them meaningfully. The focus is on meaningful, inclusive education. So I will list 10 steps which will lead to achieving that efficiency. Number one, there should be political will. Without political will, nothing will move. And we should all the time keep in mind every statement, every action in the modern world is political. We are not free from political and we are not outside the political domain. So some may be aware and some may be unconscious. And therefore, political will is absolutely necessary. Number two, attitudinal change. If the attitude is the right kind of attitude, recognizing the rights and the equality of the sections which are disadvantaged, then much of the prejudices will go and people will get their share. Third point is education. Teachers are the backbone at every level to implement the educational policy in the past and also at the present. And the present teacher education requires a lot of overhauling to include those sections who are underprivileged, to put it mildly. In other words, those people who did not get the benefits of education should be consciously brought in. I'll give just one example that will explain everything. Take, for example, reservations for SC/ST in IITs. Look at the trauma those poor students are undergoing. They have to compete with a section of people who come from privileged families with excellent knowledge of English, with proper academic home background, and therefore for them passing IIT, getting IIT degrees is not a problem. But those who come from humble backgrounds, when they are asked to compete with them, every day, every hour becomes a challenge. Now we have to find a way out to give them a lift, handhold them, equip them, empower them, so that they can also get their degrees with dignity and with a sense of success. So that is the point of my focus when we talk about teacher education. The fourth step is special campaigns and special drives should be carried out. Otherwise, people will forget. The fifth step, there should be clear mandates to the institutions. Suppose you have to do this much of arrangement, that should be done by the institutions themselves. We can't all the time blame the government. The policy is the job of the government. Implementation is the job of the institutions. And for that, the institutional leaders should be first sensitized. Not only sensitized, they should be held accountable. And if they don't do what is necessary to make inclusive education meaningful, then there has to be some follow-up action. There should be strict monitoring of implementation of different laws. Fortunately, we have quite a few laws, good number of laws, including laws for disabilities, which I would not like to enumerate now. They are all there. Third one, we have to have involvement of those sections which are hitherto excluded. For example, persons with disabilities. They should be involved in the policy making, in the planning, in budgeting, in implementing. Without their involvement, nothing about us without us. That is the slogan of the disabled community. 8, we have ministries. Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. How many sections that poor ministry will empower? It is anybody's guess. Probably that is one of the least noticed ministries among the ministries. You have PMO, you have finance, then defense, home, MHRD, and when you talk about Ministry of Social Justice, probably nobody may know what exactly is the mandate given to Ministry of Social Justice. But that ministry has a lot of responsibilities, probably without resources. So we have to think very deeply about it. One of the components of Ministry of Social Justice is to take care of the interest of the persons with disabilities. I would suggest that there should be a separate ministry for disability. I think we are inching towards that. Maybe sooner it is done, it's better. Ninth step, I would recommend there should be a policy of the government to mobilize resources by invoking CSR, corporate social responsibility, because they must contribute to the inclusive education also. Last but not the least one, strict monitoring. I would suggest that should be a cell in the PMO to monitor and then guide inclusive education and persons with disabilities and all others. I think if we put these concrete proposals, then I will be happy, even if a few of them are accepted. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Ramanujam, for that extensive description. We have with us Professor Renu Nanda, who is teaching in the University of Jammu and working extensively with children on the border areas. She has worked with women groups and children with disabilities, especially living on the borderlines. Professor Renu Nanda, what do you think why inclusion has not taken off at the grassroots level? Neither the schools nor the society have become inclusive. What do you think is the major reason?
Yes, sabhi ko mera namaskar. Very rightly pointed out Professor Sharma that we as academia, teacher educators and researchers need to wake up from our own slumber and try to understand the sensitivity of the issue and the gravity of the situation. But the matter of the fact is that we know that inclusion hasn't taken off at the grassroots level. There is actually a delayed identification and intervention process besides the attitude, the perception of the people who actually matter in this context. Working in different occasions at different levels, different places, as you have already mentioned, I've experienced this myself. The issue is that there are schools which have been created, but these schools have actually led to a custodial care model, and that needs, which actually leads to extreme isolation and marginalization. Working in tough situations, I have seen that wherever there is a situation, especially in the border areas along the LOC, this is socially not accepted at all. Then there is, in such situation, the problem is also that there is non-provision of proper infrastructure, whether it is the special aids for special children or the stipends for economically weaker sections of the society. Apart from that, we are still looking at inclusive education as an alien term. We need to come to terms, we need to understand. The earlier speaker has very elaborately explained the process in detail, but we need to contextualize and see that how this can actually be executed. And I think as teachers, it is our responsibility to take the initiatives at the grassroots level. The issue is also that inclusive education, it sounds as a very good document, but when it comes to implementation in our situation, we feel that there are a lot of problems. There are a lot of gaps and lapses. People who are working at the grassroots level have no access. They have no understanding. Even when it comes to training, when it comes to understanding the issues, it is generally pointed out that, trainings are meant for the training purpose only, not to be executed when it comes to the situation in a context. So I think we need to start from our own attitudinal change, the perception, the thinking process. And I think that the best is that, like we say, that we ourselves can lead this change. We can take this initiative, which has already been initiated by you, Professor Sharma.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Renunanda. Madhuri, you have done an extensive research on 14 districts of Maharashtra, and you have good understanding of grassroots level on the society level. What do you think is the reason that in spite of so many plans and policies of the government, our society has not become inclusive?
Myself, Dr. Madhuri Isave. So, first I would like to say thank you to Professor Sharma for giving me such opportunity to part of this esteemed panel to discuss about inclusive education. My expertise area, inclusive education, special education. I would like to express my view about this inclusive education. Inclusive education, as we know, government has taken many policies, many norms, but in spite of that, we are failed to make successful inclusion. That I just share one example while doing my research. When I visited one, parents came with a child to join school. This child has some cerebral palsy problem and some learning disability problem. And they asked to join school. And they said parents were asked, they bring their child 2-3 times in a week. And they also wanted to stay with their child. Teachers suddenly disagree with this and tell him, we cannot allow parents to stay here and we cannot allow such type of childs in our school. Go and get admission in special school. There is special school for such type of children because we don't have any special educator, special teachers in our school. We have counselor in the school. Every school has one counselor now. It's the present situation. But no any special teacher in general school. And even in teacher training institution, no any special teacher educator appointed. It is much needed in special today's situation. So this is the way. We have seen this small case, teacher's attitude, negative attitude of the teacher because of they are unaware about this inclusion education policy. And parents come from the community. Also community is not aware about this inclusion education policy. So lack of awareness training program, lack of resources, the school cannot make successful inclusion. So this is it is very difficult to get education, special children and learning disability in the inclusive setup schools because of these barriers. So this is in present situation, digital competency is another big challenge in front of teachers, and technical competencies, learning resources scarcity, and so many barriers to making inclusion.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
why
you
we
so
cannot
much.
make successful inclusion in spite of government take so much efforts.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madhuri.
Thank you, sir.
You are right from your experience, what you have seen, and from the example from the field. Dr. Somu Singh, you can enlighten us from two perspectives. One, you yourself have experienced it, and you as an activist have worked amongst the students and the teachers for making everybody aware of the handicaps or the barriers of inclusion of all. What would you like to say are the major hurdles, and what what are your experiences?
थैंक यू सीवी शर्मा सर। सबसे पहले सर आपको बहुत बहुत साधुवाद 3 कारणों से सर। एक तो सर आपने जिस नाम से ये श्रृंखला शुरू की है वो सचमुच में बहुत अच्छा, नैमिषारण्य। दूसरा सर ये जो विषय आपने लिया है उस कारण से सर, और तीसरा कि हम शिक्षकों को जो प्रैक्टिशनर्स हैं उनको कहने का अवसर दिया है सर। इन 3 कारणों से सर विशेष साधुवाद सर आपको। और मैं सोमू सिंह अपनी बात अपने अनुभवों से जो मैं एज ए प्रैक्टिशनर देखता हूं और जो टीचर एजुकेशन के दौरान महसूस करता हूं, सबसे बड़ी समस्या सर एटीट्यूड की है। एटीट्यूड को मैं निगेटिव नहीं कहता सर, मैं ऐसे लोगों को मानता हूं पर्सन विथ डिसेबल एटीट्यूड, वो बदलना ही नहीं चाह रहे हैं। उनके अंदर कहीं ना कहीं ये भाव आता ही नहीं है कि हम सब समान हैं और हम सब एक ही उद्देश्य के लिए काम कर रहे हैं। जैसे सर एक परिप्रेक्ष्य आता है कि पर्सन विथ डिसेबिलिटीज एक्ट ने डिफाइन कर दिया कि ये डिसेबिलिटीज हैं, लेकिन बहुत सारे ऐसी डिसेबिलिटीज हैं जिनकी चर्चा नहीं आती, जिसमें सर एक भाषाई अगर हम दृष्टिकोण देखें, हमारी कक्षा में बहुत सारे बच्चे भाषाई समस्या की वजह से, उसकी अक्षमता की वजह से शिक्षण अधिगम से कट जाते हैं या फिर भेदभाव का शिकार होते हैं, या फिर उनका जो रूप रंग है, उनकी जो पर्सनालिटी है उसके कारण भी। और कहीं ना कहीं सर जो एकेडमिक लीडर है या टीचर में ये भाव रहता है कि मैं पूर्ण हूं और ये सामने मेरे जो है वो मुख्य धारा से हटा हुआ है या ये अभावग्रस्त है, इसको मुख्य धारा में लाना है, तो मैं इस नाते काम कर रहा हूं। तो ये सबसे बड़ी समस्या है सर। सबसे कंसेप्ट में सर जो हम सोचते हैं कि कैसे बदलाव लाया जाएगा, जो मेरे दिमाग में आता है कि सर हम ये दिखाएं टीचर को ट्रेनिंग के दौरान, ये सिखाएं कि हम सब जब जन्म लेते हैं उस समय से जो हमारी विकास की यात्रा है वो कहीं ना कहीं डिसेबल से एबल की तरफ जाती है, और हर व्यक्ति कभी ना कभी एक बार ऐसी परिस्थिति में जरूर आता है जब उसे लगता है कि वो अक्षम है। तो ऐसा जब भाव होगा, इस नाते हम सब समान हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं दृष्टि बदल सकती है, ऐसा मेरा व्यक्तिगत मानना है। तो दृष्टिकोण में परिवर्तन सबसे बड़ी जरूरत है, क्योंकि सर नीतियां बनी हैं, जैसे कि मैडम ने भी कहा, नीतियां बहुत अच्छी भी बनी हैं, डॉक्यूमेंटेड हैं, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं यहीं आकर के समस्या होती है। दूसरा मुद्दा है सर जो मेरे दिमाग में आता है टीचर एजुकेशन में, टीचर एजुकेशन का जो करिकुलम है सर, जो नॉर्मल टीचर एजुकेशन करिकुलम है, उसमें जो कंटेंट है और जो एक्टिविटीज ली गई हैं इंक्लूजन की, मैं उन्हें सर व्यक्तिगत रूप से सफिशिएंट नहीं मानता। और ये बहुत बड़ी संख्या है जो निकलती है, जो केंद्रीय विद्यालयों में, नवोदय विद्यालयों में, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के विद्यालयों में टीचर्स की जाती है। अगर इसको हम राइट पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ इंक्लूजन नहीं दे पा रहे हैं, उसकी प्रैक्टिस नहीं करवा पा रहे हैं, तो कैसे इंप्लीमेंट करेंगे इंक्लूजन को। और जैसा कि मैडम ने कहा कि इसको हमें कहीं ना कहीं प्राइवेट सेक्टर से भी गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर के दायरे में भी लाना होगा। एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती है, कहीं ना कहीं फोकस पॉइंट बनाना होगा इसको टीचर एजुकेशन में। जैसे हमारे डीएलएड का प्रोग्राम है, बीएड का प्रोग्राम है, उसके कंटेंट को एक बार हमें रिव्यू करना होगा सर, इस एंगल से।
बहुत
तीसरा जो बिंदु है सर मेरा, ट्रेनिंग ऑफ स्पेशल एडुकेटर्स। सर मैंने अभी हाल ही में देखा न्यूज़पेपर्स के माध्यम से कि जो हमारे ट्रेंड बीएड स्पेशल डिग्री होल्डर्स हैं, उनको डिफरेंट स्टेट बोर्ड्स में नॉर्मल स्कूल्स में रिक्रूट नहीं किया जा रहा है। मतलब जिनको इंक्लूजन की ट्रेनिंग मिली हुई है और उनको ही एक्सक्लूड किया जा रहा है। दुर्भाग्य देखिए। अब इसका कारण कुछ हो सकता है सर, जो मुझे समझ में आया, जो मैंने एनालिसिस किया, आरसीआई एक्ट के जो प्रोविजंस हैं और जो एनसीटी के प्रोविजंस हैं, दोनों प्रावधानों में कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ऐसी चीजें हैं जिनकी समीक्षा की आवश्यकता है, और समीक्षा के बाद हो सकता है संशोधन करना पड़े तो समाधान निकल आए। एनसीटी को इस दायित्व मिला है कि पूरे देश की टीचर एजुकेशन को के कोऑर्डिनेटेड डेवलपमेंट की बात करे। तो कहीं ना कहीं सर ये ऐसे बच्चे हैं जो आए, जिन्होंने ट्रेनिंग ली, और उनको अगर हम कहीं रोजगार नहीं दे पा रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं ये एक नकारात्मक संदेश जा रहा है उन युवाओं में जो इस सेक्टर में आना चाहते हैं। तो मेरी भी चिंता है सर, माननीय हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी इतने सकारात्मक दृष्टिकोण वाले हैं, उन्होंने अभी हाल ही में एनसीटी एक्ट में जो फंडामेंटल एक्ट था उसमें एक आंशिक संशोधन किया रेट्रोस्पेक्ट में जाकर के कि जो बच्चे निकले संस्थाओं से, कई हजार शिक्षकों का भला हुआ उससे, जो पहली बार ऐतिहासिक संशोधन हुआ हो सकता है अगर समस्या सही तरीके से आए। और दूसरा सर, टीचर की जो ट्रेनिंग का मसला है उसमें एक एस्पेक्ट बहुत जरूरी है जो मैंने हमेशा मैं कहता हूं, एम्पैथी। टीचर की ट्रेनिंग के दौरान, चाहे स्पेशल एजुकेटर की हो, नॉर्मल एजुकेटर की हो, उनके अंदर समानुभूति की भावना विकसित करना बहुत ही जरूरी है कि ये चैलेंजिंग जॉब है। हम सब देख रहे हैं कि हम पेपर के रूप में इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं कि हमें क्रिएटिंग एन स्कूल एक पेपर हो गया, जेंडर एजुकेशन स्टडीज एक पेपर हो गया, पेपर बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, लेकिन उन पेपरों के बीच में भी तालमेल नहीं है। एक दूसरा टीचर पढ़ा रहा है, एक दूसरा टीचर पढ़ा रहा है। तो जब हम बात कर रहे हैं कि हमको पूरी सोसाइटी को इंक्लूसिव बनाना है, क्लासरूम को इंक्लूसिव बनाना है, स्कूल के एनवायरनमेंट को इंक्लूसिव करना है, इतना मेजर एम है हमारे पास, पूरी सोसाइटी का नेशनल एम है, तो फिर इसको सर हमें फोकस में लाना होगा। हमें नॉर्मल स्कूल्स में, स्पेशल स्कूल्स में, चाहे जो स्कूल्स हैं, यही सब तीन बातें जो मैंने समझी अपने अनुभव से, उनको मैंने आपके सामने रखा। धन्यवाद सर।
बहुत 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 आभार, धन्यवाद सोमू, बहुत अच्छी बातें और बहुत सटीक बातें आपने की हैं। टू सम अप, प्रोफेसर रामानुजम, वेरी क्विकली, two suggestions that you would like to make for the policy makers and the government. You have already made many, but ultimately.
First of all, we must collect the various views of the stakeholders on the gaps that exist in the existing policies. And we should go for a policy review. Secondly, so far, what kind of progress has been made in implementing the various laws and the provisions on inclusive education? That has to be ascertained. Third, at the highest level, probably a committee headed by the Prime Minister and representatives from the interested sections of society, they should prepare a kind of action plan, because we cannot wait anymore. We must show some quick progress. And if the committee is headed by the Prime Minister, I'm sure there will be quick result. Meaningful.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Professor Renu Nanda, quickly.
Yeah, I think the governmental initiatives on ground, like to begin with, we can talk about the experiential training and learning, hands-on training, redesigning of curriculum, regular awareness programs, follow-ups, statutory provisions, and focus on community participation by making them inclusive, sensitive, appropriate and adequate infrastructure, equipments and tools for timely identification and intervention are required. And the most important is the data that has been collected that needs to be, we have to redo this exercise and document it in a proper sequential order.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Madhuri, what are your two important suggestions?
Yes, for the government, I would like to give two important suggestions. Appoint special teacher in general school and special teacher educator in teacher training institution is one suggestion. And second one, frequently arrange awareness training program for teachers to make them aware about the inclusive education. And the policymaker, I would like to suggest, while designing educational program for inclusive education, the focus must be shifted from the individual impairment to social context. And second one is, in current policy, homeschooling concept is very highlighted. Try to monitor how it will work with.
Okay, thank you so much. सोमू, आपके विचार जो आप रिकमेंडेशन के तौर पर देना चाहेंगे?
सर, पहली रिकमेंडेशन तो मेरी यही है जो मैंने अभी चिंताएं रखी सर, आरसीआई और एनसीटी के प्रावधानों की समीक्षा की जाए सर, और देखा जाए कि कौन से प्रावधान ऐसे हैं जो कहीं ना कहीं आज के संदर्भ में इंक्लूजन को नॉर्मल स्कूल्स में भी, स्पेशल स्कूल्स में भी उनमें हर्डल कहें या कुछ और भी कह सकते हैं, या हम इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं पॉलिसीज को, उस दायरे से को बाधित कर रहे हैं, तो उसको रिव्यू करके संशोधित किए जाने की जरूरत है सर, इस एंगल से। दूसरा सर ये कि सारे स्कूल्स में सर, सारे हायर स्कूल्स में, हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस में एक स्पेशल एजुकेटर जरूरी है सर। वो रिसोर्स पर्सन होगा, वो हमको बताएगा कि कि आखिर है क्या, वो कम से कम सारे प्रोविजंस जानता है, उसको गहराई से उसने पढ़ा है, समझा है, प्रैक्टिशनर है। ये दो ही सर मेरे मूल सजेशंस हैं।
Thank you very much. Very pertinent suggestions. So what emerges from experts across the country, Jammu and Kashmir, to Delhi, to Uttar Pradesh, to Maharashtra? I think we have the same feedback. There is a lack of political will. The politicians are not really open to this idea, and they are not worried about the inclusion and about women, about SC/ST, about children with disabilities, about linguistic minorities. Political will is important. Society is not very reflective. There needs to be an attitudinal change. People do not understand, and it's not only discrimination in institutions or in social space, but everywhere. Language is a major issue. We are a country of more than 1,500 languages, but we have not really responded to that. Apathy towards those who suffer disability, who are discriminated against on lines of language, gender, and other issues. And the most important thing that emerges is that our statutory bodies, like the RCI, the Rehabilitation Council of India, the National Council for Teacher Education, and the ministries of HRD, Social Justice, Women and Child, have not really sat together and thought about this issue. Inclusion is most important today. It's not the loss of an individual. It's not the loss of a group. It's not the loss of a society, but it is a loss of the nation. If we do not include everybody, we are losing as a nation. We must rise to the occasion and include everybody so that the nation gains. This topic was taken to make everybody aware that as we have a very vibrant government today, which cares about national development, which is really, really interested in learning about issues, this is our effort as educationists to reach our voice to those who matter. Every time we dedicate our effort, our program to the very dynamic, magnanimous Prime Minister नरेंद्र मोदी जी. नरेंद्र भाई, ये आपको समर्पित है. आपसे हमें बहुत आशाएं हैं और हम सब शिक्षक और शिक्षक प्रशिक्षक आपसे अपेक्षा करेंगे कि आप इसको सुने और इसका संज्ञान लें ताकि कुछ चीजें बदलें. हम इसलिए ये कर रहे हैं ताकि हमारा देश बदले और हम आपके सपनों का भारत बन सकें. मेरे सारे पैनलिस्ट को, to all my panelists, thank you very much for sparing time and sharing your views, and to all our viewers who would watch this and carry the message forward. Thank you all very much. Namaskar.